Scott and or Madison, Jenny, Tyler, can you get the duo back there? Scott and Madison. Can you try going, see if it pulls up?
Hi.
Hi.
How are you? I'm okay. How are you?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi. Good. How are you?
Good. Are you super excited to be joining us this summer? You did great in your interviews, by the way.
Thank you.
I was so proud.
Thank you. So fun.
No, ow, please do not. I don't want to be brought.
No, you
no thanks. I'm good.
I got you queued
I'm
up.
so okay. I'm
How you doing
Oh my gosh. I like this.
I could have worked here.
Yeah. That's my first time.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I saw someone earlier and I was like, she looks really familiar, but I don't know. How are you doing?
Oh, yeah, there he is. Oh, doggy.
Oh, shoot. Oh.
Oh. So there's an iPad in it? What's up, boys? What up, big guy? How you doing? What is up? How are you doing? I'm doing good. Good to see you. I don't think anybody's seen you because there's an iPad in here, but that might just be because they're like all the people that are here.
Wait, is that like someone?
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Oh, it's live. It's live. I think all the people
Should we join them?
I'm cool. I don't really want to do I'm always a bad. Like in high school, I was always like, once I got to college, I was like, I'm not going to play that.
I feel like right here.
And my grades have to separate, so
Yeah.
I always make it sound like whenever people ask me, everyone like talks like, oh, like I'm in school, and I'm like, nope, like I did it, send it back this time. And I was like, I'm doing a service call for people that can't do it. That's what I tell myself, but it's not real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a good video.
You're on Candy Camera.
Welcome and good evening, everybody. So we're going to do introductions real quick, and then I'm going to let the lovely ladies from Student Services take over and kind of walk you through the MedEx onboarding process. But firstly, hi, my name is Jenny Coe. I'm one of the program advisors here at MedEx Academy. For those of you who I did not meet during interview season, I'm super excited to get to know you today. And for those of you who I did get to meet during interview season, I'm super, super excited to get to see you again today. So I'd like to kind of congratulate you into our MedEx Academy and into our MedEx family. Congratulations, you did it! Madison's going to go over what our logistics looks like, the cycle that we had a lot of amazing applicants. It was super hard to turn away each and every one of them. But at the same time, we also had amazing people who we could not let go of. And they are here with us today, and that would be all of you. We are so extremely excited to spend our summer with you. And I know it's kind of weird because I don't know you, and I'm telling you all these things, like super excited to make connections with you, super excited to make relationships with you, but it's super true. I am super excited and thrilled to be a program advisor here and to get to know each and one of you this summer. And that echoes for every program advisor here at MedEx Academy, and you'll get to meet them throughout orientation, and also echoes for your MedEx interns, who you will also meet later today. We're just super excited to spend our summer with you, and extremely privileged to be able to walk with you through your journey in medicine and get you to where you need to be. So I'm so excited for the summer, and I look forward to it. So that was a quick introduction, and let's get started with orientation.
So, like Jenny said, we're so proud of the returning students and the new students that we have joining us this upcoming summer. We love to just kind of keep you all in the loop, go through our application and interview stats through this past year. So as far as just undergrad specifically, we had 345 applications in total. And then with primary and secondary interviews combined, we did a total of 385 interviews. That's just shy of 200 hours of interviewing for you all to know. So we are so excited for you guys to be here and for us to be at this point. We had amazing candidates and applicants, and as you guys know, this is a very competitive process. So we want to congratulate you. We also want you and us the same to recognize what a privilege it is to be here. We are going to have a wonderful summer, and we're so excited to get to know each and every single one of you. But what makes the summer and really the year, the relationship, what it is recognizing, our privilege and excitement to be here, and what this can be, and all of us putting kind of our best foot forward and putting in that effort. And so that's what we hope orientation will do a good job of kind of getting you excited for the summer, while also informing you kind of what you need to do before we can have that fun.
So really what you can do in between now and the time you start for MedEx, there are a lot of onboarding processes that we'll walk you through tonight. And they can be a little complex and a little confusing. As a former student myself, I know it can be challenging to navigate the onboarding process to MedEx. But we're here to make sure that that process goes smoothly for you, that you understand everything that's expected of you before you show up on your first day in MedEx. And we're really excited for you to go through this process. Here tonight we have Natalie and Emily, who are our wonderful student services contacts for you all, and they will walk you through the MedEx onboarding process so that you have all the information you need to do all of the health streams and myclinical exchanges and all of those things that might be a little confusing right now for you guys. So if you've received any emails from student services in the past, or you've gotten any myclinical exchange emails, sit tight on those things until you hear from Natalie and Emily, and they will walk you through that process now. So we're very excited to welcome them to introduce this to you guys.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know. Sorry.
So, how many of you have been through the onboarding process with us before? Yeah? Right. May have been easier to ask who have not. So, we have two programs that we use. Well, first, I'm Emily. This is Natalie. And we're your contacts. So, if you have questions along the way, this is our contact information. You can get that also from, I think this is being recorded, so you can look at this later. You can also, at any time, email the student services at prismahealth.org. Make sure there's a dot in between student and services. That is brand new as of today. And so you can reach both of us with that email. So first, we're going to go through myclinical exchange, what it is, what it looks like, and how to get on it. That is our repository for all of your clearance items, and we're going to go through what you are actually required to submit for clearance, and then questions and other logistics like parking. So, myclinical exchange. This is where you are going to upload all of your clearance documentation. Please, please, please do not pay for your myclinical exchange account. If you are asked by the program to pay something, please contact us so that we can make sure that you're set up correctly. Also, if you've never had a myclinical exchange account before, it's really important that you log in a specific way so that the system knows that you have a prepaid account. So if you're some of the few that have never logged on, then you're going to log on in that Center Students button there. And then you're going to say you forgot your password. You don't have to put anything else in those blanks. Just say you forgot your password. Put in your email address. That's the email that you provided MedEx when you did your application. And then you are going to put in a security code and then click email password. Do not click change password. It'll mess it all up. So email you. They're going to email you a password, and then you can log in like normal. This is what your screen looks like. Obviously, these are not going to be the requirements that you have, and you won't have that many rotations on yours unless you've been here before doing prior rotations. But the way that you would access your compliance checklist is either through the My Alerts, which is that orange box, or on the right-hand side where it says My Rotations. Any kind of messages that you have are going to be in that inbox section. If you have a campus compliance checklist, which you shouldn't, I believe we had that removed, but do not go to that. That's the very top one with the little triangle and the exclamation point. Ignore that. And then go into your rotation, and it will look like this. Your requirements are going to be different from these. These are just a demo site that we took this from. But I wanted, yeah, that does work. So, here is the place where you are going to upload all of your documentation. So, if you have anything here, that's probably from your past rotation, and it's what you submitted the last time. So if it's something like an MMR vaccination or varicella, then those things don't have to be updated because they don't have to be redone. So you actually don't need to put anything as long as it's in the clear. Now if you have this, if it's flagged in yellow, you probably need to submit something. You guys don't have to do flu vaccine, but this is just an example of what it will look like if you do have an item that needs to be updated. If you accidentally updated the wrong thing, say you didn't mean to do the security security form there, you meant to do your tuberculosis screening. Then you can click the remove the attachment, and then it'll go back to the add document, and you'd add one again. Lastly, on this screen is as you're going through and uploading all your documentation, you can click save here, but we will not see things that you update if you only click save. When you're ready to submit everything for approval, then you need to submit for approval here. If you skip this step, none of your items will come to us for review. Also important to note, Natalie and I are the only two people who do clearance. And so if you submit your compliance checklist on Friday afternoon, chances are you're not going to be cleared until Monday because there's a whole bunch of you, and we don't work on the weekends. Every single person's account has to be looked at by Natalie or me. So it's not like an automatic, oh, I submitted it, so I'm good. No, it has to be reviewed. So there's a whole process for submitting. You're not done because it comes to us. It's a ping pong effect. So when you send us your compliance items for review, then you won't be able to edit anything until we either approve or decline it. So Natalie is going to go through all of the compliance checklist items. And also, if you guys have any questions between any of this, please feel free to ask us now. That way you're not confused later.
Thank you. So let me also offer my welcome to you tonight. It's good to see so many people here. Thank you also to the MedEx staff for offering us the opportunity to be here. To share with you some information. Hopefully it will cut down on a little bit of the confusion because there are a lot of prerequisite requirements before you can start. So before we have all that fun, Jenny and Madison, we got to talk about the not so fun stuff. So just bear with me. So is there any question of what Emily covered about logging on or getting in? How many have been into my clinical exchange before? Did Emily already ask that? Okay, so most of you have. So a lot of, who has not? Let me see those hands. Okay, so we have a fair amount who have not. Okay. So what Emily showed you on this screen here, this is what we call the compliance checklist. So what I want to do is go over the specific items on the checklist. So for this undergraduate group, you all are required to submit a background check. There is, on your compliance checklist, there is a document that will tell you where to go to a local company. It's called SR&I. And if you put in this code right here, whoop, I hit the wrong thing. Thank you. Oh, that's right here. Right there, make sure that you put in that code, and then your background check will be free of charge to you. Not free of charge because we'll pay for it. Well, Mr. Squire will pay for it, his budget, but you won't have to pay for it yourself. Yeah, he's a rich man over there, so we're going to let Mr. Squire pay for it. And, but if you'll put in that code there, then that will help you with your background check. And you will get all of this information, and we'll talk about that as well in just a moment. The other thing, who in here is in Tier 3? Oh, a lot of Tier 3s. Okay, you are the only tier, to my understanding, from the curriculum that you interact with some portion of research, and because of that, you are required to do a little extra step called the city training modules. I mean, it's just some online modules that you have to complete. There's no fee for that, so you don't have to worry about that. And there is an additional document on your compliance checklist. There is a tab that says documents, and it has things like where to park and maps, and there'll be a document there about city training. So I just wanted to mention that as well. The next thing on your compliance checklist for us at Prisma Health Upstate, you have some personal identifiers. So you have a date of birth, the last 5 of your social security number, your school name, and then a photograph. So photographs we have a lot of fun with in our office. You would be surprised at the photographs we receive. Some with cuddly animals, they're beautiful, but they're not appropriate. Some with the big C for Clemson or USC, a Gamecock. Yes, but so those are not they do not meet our requirement because these pictures are for your student badge. So it needs to be just a simple face, and you can do a selfie, by the way, but it needs to be just, you know, headshot with a full view of your face, no hat, sunglasses, that sort of thing. So these pictures, do you think they would meet our requirement? No. Sweet little teddy bear, I love it. But no, that does not. No. So Emily, with her glamour shot here, do you think that would meet our requirements? Afraid not. And then sunglasses. She looks cool, Miss Kimball. Afraid not. That does not meet our requirement either. What about this one? Just Natalie having fun in the office. Unfortunately, that will not work either. So this has an improper background. We're not going to do a photo test. Face is obstructed. That could be a blessing some days. Improper facial expression. I don't know. That may be my own. Really. And then wrong formatting. So that's another thing I wanted to make mention of is we require that the photos be in JPEG format. We get a lot of PNGs, a lot of PDFs. Yeah, thank you. And they don't transfer to the security badge office for the lady who does the badges there. So make sure you send them in JPEG format. Oh yeah, that must have not. So now let's talk about your documentation for your immunizations, because I think this is where the majority of the confusion comes in. So we wanted to see if we could make this as clear and concise tonight as we could. First of all, any documentation that you upload and submit needs to have your name on it. Sounds simple, right? But a lot of times we'll get documentation that just has dates and it doesn't have a name, so we don't know who it's for. It does need to include the date of the immunization and the procedure, and it needs to include the result of the TB screening or the titer. Okay? So TB screening, this by far is the most confusing requirement that we have, in my personal opinion. So we require a two-step initial TB test. Now the good thing is, within the last 12 months, let me add that caveat. So if you've been here before and been in MedEx, hopefully you've already met that requirement, and all you will need to do this year is just get an annual, just one TB test. So what gets confusing, to have a TB test, you have it placed, you wait 2 to 3 days, and then you have it read. So when we say a two-step TB, a lot of people think that's the 2 steps, but actually that's just a 1-step TB. So a 2-step TB is when you have that process that I just explained, you wait 7 days, and then you repeat that process. So you'll have another one placed, wait a couple of days, and have it read. And this, if you have to have a 2-step, it'll take about 10 days. So we just want to caution you not to wait until the very last minute to get started on your immunizations, particularly TB, because a lot of you, if you don't have the TB, you may have documentation for your childhood immunizations, but that is, you know, TB is usually not part of that at all. So chances are you will not have that information. The annual TB test, again, if you've already had the 2-step and it's been within the last 12 months. Now, if it's been 15 months ago, then you're going to have to start the 2-step process again, okay? But a year ago, I think, about a year ago, we started accepting also blood tests. So if you don't want to go through the process of a skin test, you can do something like a quantiferon blood test or a T-spot, and you can get that done very quickly. And again, that if you've already had one of those done, if it's been done within the last 12 months, then that will meet that requirement as well. Another thing we wanted to highlight, if you have a history, excuse me, of a positive TB test, then you have to have a chest x-ray within 90 days of your start date. So if you had a chest x-ray 6 months ago, it's not going to meet Prisma Health Upstate's requirement for MedEx, okay? You'll have to have another one within 90 days before starting. So any questions on TB? No? Good? Okay. Let's move on. So the other thing we require is MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella, and we require either 2 immunizations, which a lot of people, this is one of your childhood immunizations, so oftentimes this may already be on your record, or a positive titer, okay? Any questions about MMR? One's kind of simple and straightforward. The next one is varicella. The same thing, we need documentation for either 2 varicella, which is chickenpox, vaccinations, or a positive titer. And one note here I'd like to make is that we do not accept history of having chickenpox as a child. We don't accept that history of the disease. So if that's what's on your record, unfortunately, you would either have to have a titer drawn, and hopefully you will be positive if you did have chickenpox, or you'd have to have the vaccinations. Excuse me, one other thing I'd like to mention, if you need to have a varicella, if you have to have the 2 varicellas, that takes 30 days. So it's 30 days from the first one to the second one. And also, if you have to have a TB in addition to the 2 immunizations, you need to have your TB test completely done before you start this process. Because if you have this process started and then you do a TB test, there is a chance to have a false positive reading on your TB test. For that in MMRs as well. So just again, keep those time frames in mind, because if you have to get all of that, this potentially could take 40 days if you had to get 2 titers and then a 2-step TB test. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Any questions about that? No questions? Y'all have it? That's good. Okay. So hepatitis B is an immunization that we strongly encourage for healthcare workers, but this is the only one that you actually can sign a declination form for. So there again, when you go to your compliance checklist, under the Documents tab, this will be one of the documents that's there for you. And if you have not had the 3 series hepatitis B shot or a positive titer, then you can just sign this waiver. But this is only for hepatitis B. So that's all about immunizations. Before we move on to HealthStream, are there any questions at all about immunizations? Don't be shy. You have any? No? Okay. So Emily talked about My Clinical Exchange, explained what it is. That's our repository of where we hold all of your information. The second platform we use is called HealthStream. And HealthStream it's a learning management system, and that's where you do your online orientation modules. And so I wanted to tell you just a little bit about that. Once we get you, your rotations, by the way, have already been created in My Clinical Exchange. We've not uploaded the rosters with your names and email addresses yet. That will be done this week, so you will be getting an automatic email from My Clinical Exchange. Once we get that process started, we'll send your information to our HealthStream analyst, and he will upload your information to HealthStream. Now again, many of you have already been here and done MedEx, so you'll already have an account. So you may only have just a few modules that you need to catch up on from the past year. But if you're new, for those, I saw several hands over here, this is where you log in. So we'll send you information with the link of where to go for HealthStream. So you're going to go here to Connections, and then you're going to go here, and all of this will be in the handout we'll send you. But you go to Learning Links, you'll click there, and then you enroll in your curriculum here. There is a fee associated with HealthStream, but again, it comes out of Mr. Squire's budget, remember, because he's rich. So he's going to pay your HealthStream cost as well. So you do not have to pay the fee for HealthStream. And again, this will be a separate communication apart from the communication that you receive from My Clinical Exchange. Okay. Any questions about HealthStream? What it is or what it does? Okay. So, all of this information that we've just discussed, we need to have all of your information submitted and hopefully reviewed and approved. Your clearance deadline is May the 13th. So that means you don't have long, particularly if you're going to have some of those immunizations that may take a few days to get. But I just wanted to remind you that your clearance deadline to have everything where Emily showed you where you submit for approval, we need to have all of that information by May 13th, okay? So that's your deadline. Did everybody in the room receive an email from me on Friday? I hope that you got your welcome. And so that date is also there. And there's a handout that goes over a lot of what this presentation is covering tonight. A lot of that information is also in that handout. And now Emily is going to finish up for us.
So, how many of you, this is confession time, parked in front of the ESC last year? Now, I know y'all did. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about student parking. I appreciate the honesty, but I know some of you others. So, this is lot 13. Sorry, I'm neglecting you guys. This is lot 13 here. This is student parking. You are currently right here in the medical school building. Right here. This, no parking. No. Okay? And it's really not that bad. And there's a shuttle. So if it's raining or you don't want to walk, then you can wait on a shuttle and they'll take you wherever you need to be. But just make sure that you're parking here in the student lot, and then it's a quick little hop skip right here to the med school building. They're utilizing the Employee Services Center for a lot of nursing orientations, and then there's a nurse extern program in the summer. So parking is already really tight there. I park by a dumpster. Please don't park in the Employee Services Center building. Park in your student lot, please. Any questions about anything we've gone over, immunizations, my clinical exchange, health stream, anything? Yes?
So this is kind of more like my situation, but I'm a nursing student at Clemson and I'm doing a rotation at a GHS facility right now. Will my clinical exchange and the health stream connect to my nursing one?
Yes.
Or do I have to do all of it again?
As long as you have provided the same email address that you use for my clinical exchange, then all of your documentation should cascade over to your MedEx rotation.
Yes, thank you.
And actually, that is a good point to make for those who are repeating MedEx students. If you had a My Clinical Exchange account last year, as long as you use the same email address that you used last year, if you submitted that again for this year, then a lot of your information that you submitted from last year will just cascade over. So you'll only probably just have to have an annual TB test and maybe some health stream updates. Maybe the only two things that you'll even have to update on your compliance checklist.
And I did go through today and pull a report from my clinical exchange and compared it to the rosters for MedEx. And so I have a list of people who did submit different email addresses. And I know, like, especially if your last email address was like your school email address, you don't even actually check that anymore. So Natalie and I are going to go through and edit those emails that are currently in my clinical exchange to match the ones that you provided MedEx. So it'll already be your new email address when we attach you to the rotation. So all of your past information should cascade over.
But again, if there's any issues or any questions, then the student services email is the best way to email us, and then Emily and I, we both bounce in and out of that box, and we'll check your emails and get that.
And all of our contact information is on that handout that Natalie emailed Friday. So feel free to call us. You are never in imposition. That is what we are here for. Call us, email us. You are not harassing us. It's our job to help you guys make this the easiest process so you can enjoy your summer.
There's no other questions?
Okay. So we'll continue with kind of the more fun part of the orientation. As I mentioned, this part will be recorded, so we will have some answers for you. There are a couple things that I wanted to mention, not so fun things, I'm sorry. There are some clearance forms that you might see on My Clinical Exchange by mistake or that you might hear about. Don't worry about these forms in particular. Your W-2, your marketing form, any scholarship release forms, or anything pertaining to being like an international student or citizenship or anything like that. You don't have to answer any of those questions or fill out any of those forms in particular because we will do those on the first day of MedEx and we will work with your specific personal situation in regards to all of these things. The last thing is just a reminder, for only Tier 3, you do have city training. You will get an email about that soon. You should upload a copy of that through your My Clinical Exchange if you want to, but that is not required. The required part is to get that form, which will come in an email to you also, so it won't just be on My Clinical Exchange, it will also be an email to you. So you get a copy of that form, complete it, do your modules, do all of that, and then send us a completion report by May 25th. So that's for Tier 3 only. If anybody wants clarification on that, you can come talk to me or Madison afterwards, and we will explain what city training is to you. But basically, just make sure that you don't just submit that in My Clinical Exchange, that you also email it to us because we have to have a copy for our records as well.
Just a side note, I'm sorry, our email actually just changed today,
Oh, that's
and I completely forgot. So it's macademy@prismahealth.org. It's the same like beginning, it's just now Prisma Health instead of GHS.
Okay, so now to like the fun stuff. It's about time for that. So behind me, you can see this is the dream team. This is the reason why all you guys are here. But we've all done MedEx, so I'll start with myself first. My name is Scott Salters. I currently am serving as the HBCU Initiatives Coordinator, so shout out to my HBCU people out there. And then I'll just go ahead and allow everybody else to introduce themselves. Oh, yeah. Because at the end, after that, then interns, you guys can introduce yourselves as well. So Jenny, how are
Okay,
you?
hi. So once again, my name is Jenny Coe. I'm one of the program advisors here at MedEx Academy. This is my second year serving as your advisor, so I'm super excited to continue the relationships that I've already kind of created last summer, and super excited to create new ones this year as well. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm super excited.
My name is Hannah Anderson. I'm also a program advisor. Like Jenny, this is my second year, so I know a lot of you already. And I've also met a lot of you in interviews. And so I'm really looking forward to the summer. I will be primarily over Tier 4, but also over all the other tiers. Shout out to my Tier 4 peeps, wherever you're at. Yeah. It's going to be a really fun summer. Like Scott mentioned, we've all been through MedEx. I had a fantastic MedEx experience myself. And it's so important for me to come back and share that with you guys. And make sure that you grow and you learn and have a really enriching summer. And so I am really thrilled to meet all of you and spend my summer with you.
Hi guys, my name is Madison Williams. I work as the logistics advisor this year for MedEx. Like everyone else here, well, not the same tiers, but went through MedEx. I did tiers 3 and 4. Loved it so much, came back as a Tier 1 specific intern, and now I'm here working as a logistics advisor. So you might have seen me emailing you a couple times or met several of you during the interview process, but excited to get to know more of you as the summer approaches. I'm working a lot getting ready for Tier 3 specifically, so any Tier 3 students that have questions, feel free to reach out. Other than that, excited to get to know all of you guys.
Hi friends, my name is Kira Williams. I did the MedEx Academy. I did tiers 2, 3, and 4, and like Madison, loved it so much, came back last summer and worked with the beautiful tier 3 of last year, greatest class, woo-woo. Tier 4 this year, really upset about it, but it's fine. Serving as a program advisor this year and has loved every minute of it. I worked a lot with Scott with the HBCU people, so woo-woo, thank you for being here. This year, I am working with Tier 2 students, so you're interested in Tier 2, woo-woo, those are my interns, they're great. Tier 2, if you have any questions about Tier 2, what the experience will be like as a student, I did Tier 2, so I can give you sort of my own personal perspective as well as what we're building this year. So if you have any questions or just want to chat, like I like talking too, so we can do that as well. But super excited to be here, super great meeting you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.
And we have some very special guests with us here tonight, our tier interns. If you guys don't mind standing and introducing yourselves. Not all of them are here, but we're very excited to have the ones here that we
right, hey everyone, my name is Tyler Stoneman. I'm a senior at Clemson University right now. I went through tiers 3 and 4 the past couple of years. I see a couple familiar faces from interviews. I've been helping along with that as well. But this year I'm going to be leading tier 2 with my friend Chloe.
Hi everybody, like Tyler said, my name is Chloe Shockling. I graduated from Clemson last May, which is time flies. And I'll be working with tier 2 students this year. I'm really excited to get to know all of you and help guide your journey into medicine and get to know you on a really personal level. So we're gonna have an awesome summer.
Hey guys, so my name is Michaela York. I graduated from the College of Charleston's Honors College also last May, so I'm also old. I graduated from Tier 4 in 2017, and for my Tier 3 kids, I'm so ready to deal with the MCAT, you guys. We will survive it. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and I'm Kenzie, round up the group. I'm also Tier 3 with Michaela, so we're going to have the best summer ever. I really like smiles and hugs, so if the MCAT really gets you down, come find me. I'm your gal. I plan to have brownies at least once a week, so yes, go brownies. But I love you all already. I can't wait to get to know you a little bit better. And Michaela and I are going to, like, raise the roof. Come on, kids.
We will raise the roof, but in a tame and professional way.
Thank you guys for being here. So Tier 4 interns cannot be here tonight, but you will be meeting them obviously at Tier 4. They're super excited to meet you, and we're really excited for you guys to have a great summer with these lovely individuals who will guide you through the MedEx process and work with all of your tiers. So to continue, we will go through each of the tiers and kind of tell you what to expect and what's up with that.
Overview of the tiers. All right, Tier 2 people, all my Tier 2s, wave your hand. Everybody just don't care. Woo! Great. So Tier 2, really cool. Planning a lot of things. Super excited about what's happening. First thing, make a note of the dates. So the dates are very easy. June 3rd through July 3rd. Can't get it messed up. Very simple. The 3rd, that's great. Make note of that. Make sure you're available during the tier. We'll kind of reiterate that throughout our orientation today. But this is expected for you to be with us Monday through Friday during this time frame. So make sure your calendar's clear. If you had engagements, go ahead and cancel them. So, what to bring for this tier specifically? Your laptop is great. If you don't like laptops, that's your prerogative. But we're really going to make sure that you're doing a lot of research this tier. So make sure you have some sort of electronic device that allows you to go on the internet, allows you to access articles, PDFs. We're doing a lot of research, a lot of debating, a lot of ethics. So we want to make sure you have access to the outside world. So make sure you have a laptop. Also an open mind. This is a very critical tier regarding ethical dilemmas. So we're going to be talking about a lot of gray this tier. So a lot of us that are science people, very type A nerds, we like black and white, but tier 2 is very gray. There are a lot of ambiguous answers, not a whole lot of solid solutions. So make sure you're coming in open-minded and able to kind of break out of what you think is right and wrong, because you will be challenged. Dr. Eppright, beautiful lady in that top picture, she is a firecracker and she is no holds barred. So you want to make sure you are prepared for her ethics dilemmas, debates. You will be challenged, so make sure you have that. And positive attitudes, because this tier can be a little bit emotionally heavy. There's a lot of things happening, a lot of different things are coming up with our current events. We want to make sure that you're coming in with a positive mindset, and our interns are super great, so if you come in pretty down, they'll make sure you're happy before you leave, because we want you guys to be in a positive mindset, and you're going into a very challenging field, so you want to make sure that you keep your morale up, all that good stuff. And like I mentioned, ethics research is a huge part of Tier 2. You do a lot of that with our Tier 4 students. So Tier 4, take a good look at Tier 2. You'll be spending a lot of time with them. This tier also has shadowing opportunities. So we're trying to make sure, I think the number now is 10 shadowing days within the tier where you'll be going out and leaving me and leaving us and doing adult things, which is cool. CVT training, which takes place at Patewood. That's another training that we're really excited for our Tier 2 students to be able to participate in with ultrasound technology. You're able to try it on your friends, which is great. Don't kill anyone. And also our IPM skills, which take place in our SIM center, which is just a really cool way for you to go into these simulated doctor's offices So, any questions about Tier 2? No? Great. If you have any personal questions, we can talk about it.
All right, Tier 3, whoop, whoop. Can I see who in here is getting excited for Tier 3? If you're in Tier 3 and not excited, please raise your hand as well.
Also
the dates are
unacceptable.
also up there. Similar things to bring to this tier, as Kira was talking about. If you have a laptop, it's useful for research, other activities that we use the laptop. All of us kind of have that on our list, but again, we're not going to ask you to go out and buy a laptop. So if that's not something you have, then please do not stress about it. We have resources here in this wonderful building to accommodate you. Tier 3 is our preparatory tier, so we're all getting super excited about the Kaplan test prep. I know that. So with that, anything like paper and pen that you might use with test prep, get a new notebook, get excited. That is going to be valuable to have, and then other like paper and pen just to use on a regular basis. Same thing, positive attitudes, open-minded people, we appreciate you. The biggest things outside of Kaplan test prep in Tier 3 are going to be the bibliotherapy, where we get to go out into the community and have a little bit of patient interaction without getting to experience necessarily the clinical observations that Tier 2 does. But such a wonderful experience, and really with that, all you have to bring is like yourself and your smiling personality, and you will be loved by the Greenville community that you get to interact with. The other big thing that we get to do is learn about population health, and we have a wonderful expert, Dr. Rebecca Russ-Sellers, who will be joining us this summer and basically going through 5 modules on population health and really building off of her expertise to teach us about healthcare and social determinants of health, and kind of explore the system that we're trying to enter in so we can be best equipped for our future careers. So with that, really paper and pen or laptop is going to be the best resource, but other than that, we're getting so excited.
So Tier 4, where are my Tier 4 peeps at? Woo! Okay, Tier 4 is amazing. I'm slightly biased, but Tier 4 is our longest tier. It's definitely our most intense tier, and you will have so many opportunities during this tier to grow as a person, to experience things, and to grow as a professional as well. So again, please take notes of the dates. And this is our longest tier. It's about 7 weeks. So be prepared to be here all 7 weeks, and be prepared to be involved for all those 7 weeks long. Things to bring. First thing is some kind of suit or business attire for mock interview days. We have about 3.5, I think, mock interview days, and those are usually like full days. So be prepared to wear those clothes, those suits, all day long. Make sure you're comfortable, that you have clothes that you feel confident in. Don't feel like you have to buy 3 different suits. We're not expecting you to do that. You can show up in the same suit each mock interview day. No one's going to judge you. We all understand that you need to feel confident in your skin, and we'll talk more about what dress code is like. But for mock interview days, you must be business professional. So that picture down there, mock interviews, application prep, where we're all in cute little suits, is your best bet. You want to have some kind of dark or dark gray suit that matches top and bottom, and then or if you need a shirt, make sure it's not like red or orange or something. It needs to be white or blue, like the example you see in the picture there. So just keep that in mind. If you don't have a suit yet or business attire, please go out and make sure that you find that before the tier starts. So it's not like an emergency when you don't have those clothes for mock interview days. The next thing is to start to think about your professional school applications. For a lot of you guys, AMCAS, some maybe Casper for BA school, or any individual school login for grad schools, for nursing schools, for GMAT schools, those types of things. So make sure you get your application login, that you kind of study up, do some Googling, some research on those application platforms before you get to MedEx, just so you have an idea of what to expect on the first day. We'll also work through personal statements and letters of reference, and also your extracurricular activities. So if you don't have a resume yet, or you don't have like a list of your activities you've done in college, please try to compile that before you come. It'll be super, super helpful in making sure your AMCAS or your other applications go well. You also do need a laptop for this tier. Again, if you don't have one, you can work with that. But for doing your applications and those types of things, it's really
really helpful to have a laptop or an iPad with you during the days of the tier. The last thing, obviously, for every tier, you need a positive attitude, definitely an open mind. Tier 4 can be long, it can be really hard. You have a lot of clinical shadowing days, you get to be challenged a lot in mock interview days and in professional development days, and it can be a long, kind of exhausting tier. And we will be there to lift you up and to encourage you and to grow you, but please bring your open hearts, your open minds to this tier, and be prepared to work and to learn and to really grow as a person. So you can see some of the activities down there, ENT, IPM, are chances to kind of get the mini med school experience or the mini grad school experience. And as I build those activities for you guys, I'm really excited for you to experience all of them.
Okay, so these are all the activities that are shared by all tiers. So I'm just going to go through a few things that each tier will kind of do at their own time, and some together. But the first thing we do as a tier is the presidential fitness test. So this is one of the first things that we literally do within the first 2 or 3 days we get here. All of our students have to take a fitness test, which is kind of like a 1.5 mile run, a few sit-ups, a few flexibility tests, very casual. Like no biggie at all. It's not that bad. Actually, I was a student in MedEx, and when I did the presidential fitness test, I was the last person to finish my run, and also one of the most unflexible people of my group. So it was very traumatizing. But it's such a great bonding experience because it's so uncomfortable. Lots of you are going to be super uncomfortable, and all of you can kind of, group together and love on each other through that uncomfortableness. So we will do the presidential fitness test together. I will not personally do them, but your interns will be. They will run with you and do all these things with you and support you and love you through that. And I will love you from the side. So moving forward, so the presidential fitness test, why we do that is to get you to understand lifestyle medicine. So we have to preach what we practice, right? Practice what we preach, sorry. So the school is very well known for its progressive thinking into lifestyle medicine. So in order to do that, we want to show you what it's like to be a patient by doing this test. And then you guys can start thinking about how you can go out there and encourage your patients to do the same. Moving forward, we always do a cookout. So traditionally, tier 2 and tier 4 will do a cookout together, and tier 3 and 1 will do a cookout together. And this is kind of just a time for the tiers to get together and know each other, and just a time for us to have fun outside of MedEx. This one on this side. Okay. In addition, we'll be doing our BLS training, which is basic life skills. Within the first couple of days of MedEx, all of you have to be certified before we move forward with any additional clinical observations and such. So we will be going through that. Your first hands-on clinical experience of the tier. So for all the tiers, we have medical students who will be helping us throughout the summer. They will be teaching you a few clinical skills that they've learned in medical school. So they'll teach you how to do a physical exam, what they're looking for in your gastro exam, your neuro exam, how to talk to a patient, how to take a history from a patient, how to effectively communicate during kind of darker situations. They'll kind of teach you how to go through all of that. So that's what our medical students will be teaching all of you in all these tiers. And lastly, QPR. So if you've not heard, MedEx is very fond of mental health, and we strive to empower everyone to kind of speak up about it and to kind of down-regulate the stigma around mental health. And so we do that by implementing QPR in all of our tiers. QPR basically is a certification similar to CPR, but it's for assisting someone in a moment of crisis. And how we define a moment of crisis is someone who is about to attempt suicide. So you guys will kind of learn how to navigate those conversations, how to spark those conversations with someone who may have suicidal ideations, and get them to the correct resources. You yourself will not be their resource. You will kind of just be the middleman, the person getting them to these resources, but we'll teach you how to effectively start the communication and get them to where they need to be for greater health. So again, these are just some of the things we all do.
All right, and here's some more things that we all do. So just like Jenny said, we definitely place a lot of emphasis on mental health. So you can see up here at the bottom, the top left, we did a community mental health outreach exercise where we wrote really kind letters on these roses and gave it to random people in downtown Greenville. It was a really good experience. It actually makes you feel good too doing it. We have special Greenville Drive games where you have some really great experiences. I know that you guys know what I'm talking about with the mascot and running. Yeah, I've heard about it.
You should show it.
So this is another great time to get out of the medical school and to bond outside of that and to just really kind of enjoy it. This is also something that's not really mandatory, but it's actually really fun. So we get some reserved spots at the drive game. Even if you don't watch baseball, it's just a really good time to spend with your fellow teammates. And then one of my favorites, Hump Day Hangouts, Hump Day for Wednesdays. So after the day on Wednesdays, I don't know how to go. Hump Day. So after our long day Wednesday here in medical school doing your work, we do like a potluck where everyone goes to the apartments and we just hang out. It's really you get to eat good food, talk, play music. Yeah, it's really fun. So and we also have themes, as you can see. This is the Hawaiian theme. So this is a great time for Jenny to bring her brownies. Yeah, and our coordinator Sarah to make her buffalo dip. So this is just a really great time to really eat. So that's one of my favorite parts about it.
Sorry, just a tidbit on these activities for charity. So some of the activities on the other slide were kind of mandatory for all tiers. So on Scott's slide and on the Cookbook line, these were optional activities. So in MedEx, we like to cultivate kind of a strong social relationship as well as a professional one. The time in MedEx from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is strictly MedEx time, and so that's when the duration of the program is. But any time outside of that is yours. So during a busy week of MedEx, don't feel like obligated to go to any of these things. They're completely optional, but we do encourage you to go because we love to see you there.
So, the real question that you care about and why you're actually here today, what's in it for you, right? Great. So we're just going to answer the question outright so that there is no confusion when you leave here. So, what will you be provided with? Well, aside from the fact that you get wonderful staff members, because that should be enough, but alongside that, you'll be granted with our Life Center access. So, our Life Center is our state-of-the-art physical fitness center that's like down there somewhere. And so that'll be the same place that you, really great with directions, guys. So the Life Center is actually where you'll be doing your presidential fitness test. So after you've run that mile or walked it, because hey, whatever, and then you do your sit and reach, all that great stuff, your reward for having survived, aside from the satisfaction that you survived, is that you get access to the Life Center. And inside that Life Center, there's a spin room where you can do spin classes, there's a yoga studio, there's a pool. There's like really great classes, hanging out with really great people, and you get that for free while you're with us. So you get a cool little thing, like a key fob, or you have your badge, and you're able to go and say, hey, I'm with MedEx, and you get to hang out in the gym. Some of our students, especially in Tier 3, that's where they went to de-stress after MCAT stuff, because that's a lot if you're into that. Some people went early in the morning before MedEx. I don't know why, but they did. That's an option as well. It's a really great place for you to go if you're into physical fitness. That's something that we give to you. Aside from that, raise your hand if you like to eat. Right? Great, so do we. So, we don't want you to starve while you're with us this summer, so we're going to give you a meal plan, and that meal plan comes on your nifty little badge. And so basically every day, you'll have an allotment of money that's placed on your badge, and you'll be able to use that badge anywhere where GHS badges are used in lieu of currency. So, that means ABP, the cafe in here, as well as in the cafeteria at Memorial. So all of the restaurants there, I believe aside from Starbucks, you can use your badge. So that means the Chick-fil-A, the Subway, the ABP there, the cafe, you can use your badge for that every day. You learn how to make it work. So talk to an alum, they'll tell you what to get in order to make sure you're not having to spend any of your actual money. We'll make it work. Aside from that, you get access to this really great school. If you haven't toured the school yet, you really should. There are 3 levels of awesomeness. Technology everywhere, really cool things that you can take advantage of while you're here. Especially for our Tier 2 students and our Tier 3 students that are doing MCAT prep, the study rooms will become your safe havens when they're not occupied by medical students, obviously. But they'll be really great spaces for you to brainstorm, for you to isolate, for you to study, where you're not at your apartment. Because if you're anything like me, it's not possible to study at home because of Netflix. So this is a really great place for you to focus, study, hang out, and you have the support of the people that are here. So you'll get access to that. It's also great for Tier 4 if you're working on your applications to kind of get isolated. One thing we do ask is because we're being granted the opportunity to be here, please clean up after yourselves. It's basically leaving the place better than you found it because we want to respect this space and we want it to be utilized for future tiers and we want to be invited back. So we want to make sure that you're cleaning up after yourselves. Housing. This is super, super, super important. Our housing is at Greenville Tech Apartments, which is about at most 5 minutes away from here. And we do that because we recognize not all of our students are local. And we want to make sure that distance doesn't keep you from joining us. However, we need you to have checked that you need housing. So if you already checked yes that you need housing, great, you're already on the list for housing. If you checked no, and now you realize that you do need housing, please come see one of us tonight, if at all possible, because we're setting up assignments as we speak, and we want to make sure everybody that needs housing will get housing. So if you need to check, make sure you're checking in with us if you haven't already. We need to know that as soon as possible. Once we've confirmed everybody that needs housing, we'll be sending out those roommate assignments, so hopefully you can start stalking them on Instagram and Facebook, making sure they're not serial killers, and then you guys can hang out. Really great. Yeah, and also you get access to resources, so that means us. That means the really cool library here. We're here for you, all of us, all of the interns, all of us here on staff, even Al and Sarah, super great people that have way more important things to do than hang out with us, but we all are here for you. That's what we're here for. We've spent a lot of time growing this program, grooming this program. We want you to have an exceptional summer. So if you are going through anything, if you need to talk, if you need to debrief, if you need to go and get a smoothie or a milkshake from Cookout and just talk about your life, that is what we are here for because we love milkshakes. So call us if you need anything because we want you to have a great summer. We want you to be successful, and we really do care about you guys. This is truly a family, and take advantage of that because once it's over, you'll be really sad. So make sure you take advantage of it while you can.
And you have access to us literally 24/7. I know that seems a little extreme, but really you'll get our numbers on the first day of your tier. You'll have an awesome group me full of your tier mates. And when you have issues, seriously, anything, your tier interns, all of us on staff, we are here for you, and we are here to make sure, again, your summer is amazing. So do not hesitate to come to us and ask us. We've been in your shoes before. We know exactly what it feels like and like what you're doing. So please come to us. We love you guys. We love milkshakes, but we love you more. So never hesitate. Yeah.
Is that Campus Point where we lived last year?
Yes. Campus Point, Greenville Tech. I'm going to go over right now the locations of events. So first of all, welcome to the medical school. This is where you'll spend most of your summer in this building. Your lecture hall, the learning studios, the 3rd floor, all over this building. You'll have access to, and most of MedEx will take place here. For those of you with clinical experiences, and for anyone who's getting lunch at the Memorial Campus right over down here, you will be at the Prisma Health downtown campus, where the cafeteria is located, where most of our OR shadowing, clinical shadowing is located. There are also a lot of satellite branches to Prisma Health, so you will have a chance to visit those if you're in clinicals as well. I don't think it's on here. Oops, go back. But housing is at Campus Point and GTech, which, as Kira mentioned, is about 5 minutes away. It's very close to campus. It's very convenient. And you will have parking there. You'll have housing, and you'll also have roommates. Those housing, I think, is like you have your own room, obviously, and your own bathroom attached to that, and then you have a shared kitchen and suite with another roommate. So you really do have your own space, but you also have friends and roommates living with you. So it's a really great setup, and it's the same housing. If you were returning with us, it's the same housing that you were in last year. Okay, so just some last logistics that we need to go through to make sure that you're ready for the summer. Obviously, we talked about clearance at the beginning with Natalie and Emily, and that is very, very important. We cannot stress it enough. Again, whatever questions that you do have or come across, feel free to reach out to us, and if we can't help you, we'll direct you to them. But we've all been through it, and you get through it, and it works out just fine. But it does take some time, as there's just 2 of them with all of the summer programs going on. So it will take some time to kind of like get through these logistics. So we want to make sure that you guys are well equipped to get started when you leave here. So these are kind of like the quick ones that we need to go through. The first one, introductory slide. So this is a way for your interns to kind of know who you are before you come. But then once you're here, for you to help get to know your tier mates. Because sometimes when you're surrounded by like 40 people, it can be hard to get to know names to faces. And this is a great way to do that. Plus it kind of helps us prep for our graduation at the very end. So this introduction slide, we ask that you create on Google Slides, yeah, that's right, or Excel or whatever, and just send it to us. This is our Gmail account where you can share things with us or send things like this. On your introduction slide, we want to know your name, your school, when are you going to graduate, what's your major, what are you interested in as of now, if you have a favorite quote, and then include a picture of yourself as well. So you can see Lauren Tyler's introduction slide there as an example. Really, this should take you a couple minutes. We need to have this by May 5th, just so we can have everyone's done and we can start compiling them by tier. But again, this will take you like 3 minutes or less. So send it to us whenever you have that done.
So the next kind of plan of action is the Google Drive. So we use the Google Drive as a platform to share materials with you, whether that be presentations, handouts, whatnot. You'll also be using the Google Drive to upload your presentations, and we'll use it for a few other things throughout the tiers. But it's very important that everyone has a Gmail account. So if you don't already have a Gmail account, please make one this summer and be prepared to use it throughout the duration of the program. That's also how we'll be sharing our Google Calendar with you, which is how you'll kind of be updated with our events and schedule events and such. So we do a lot of things on Google Drive and just with Google services in general. If some of you did virtual interviews, we did it through Google Hangout. We really, really like it, so please make sure to have a Gmail account before the start of the tier. It would make things so much easier.
All right, and then again to highlight the importance of parking, you guys know that you were supposed to park on the first floor of the parking deck here in the garage below. And so that's very important that you park there, not in front of the ESC. Not in front of the ESC, guys. Okay. Also very important, your badge. If you are not wearing your badge, first of all, this identifies who you are and that you are with MedEx. That is very important. Also, you cannot get into this medical school without this badge. Or you can't park without this badge. So it's important to make sure that you always have your badge on you at all times.
All right, so the dress code is business casual. So you guys look great, BT dubs. So basically business casual, khakis, slacks, appropriately length skirts, so not mini skirts, not hot pants, making sure that your skirts are at fingertips length or longer. Don't want to see a whole lot of thighs and such. Which, for gentlemen, collared shirts, tucked in, closed-toed shoes if you're doing anything in the lab, anything that's clinical, interview prep, closed-toed shoes. Outside of those environments, we allow you to wear professional sandals, but like no flip-flops. Make sure if you're going to wear open-toed shoes that they're still relatively professional. No tennis shoes unless the environment requires you to do them, so we don't want you running the mile in stilettos. So we do want you to wear tennis shoes for that. For our restorative yoga class, we'll want you to wear some tennis shoes. And for shadowing experiences, if you're in the OR, I mean, you should probably wear tennis shoes. But you'll be talking to your clinician prior to you actually going to meet them, and they'll kind of give you what they expect the dress code to be. No colognes or perfumes. That's a policy for Prisma, but also just out of respect to your peers. No excessive, very gaudy jewelry, so not the costume jewelry that's very bouffant and large. No excessively low-cut tops. And make sure that if you're gonna wear a tie or a jacket, that's not necessary every single day, but it is for interview days. So blazers and ties are an essential for interview days, but not for every day. So business casual, no jeans, no t-shirts, closed-toed shoes on appropriate days, dressy sandals if you so choose on non-regular days. Any questions about dress code? If you have to question whether or not it meets dress code, probably just don't wear it. That's a safe rule of thumb. Because, yeah, that is safely sorry, right?
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Wix accounts. So this is something that we expect all of our students to come into the summer have already created and ready to use starting the first day. A lot of our returning students already have Wix accounts. If you'd like to use the same one that you have in previous years, we welcome that. If you need to clean it up at all just to like get ready for the next summer, please do that before coming in. We don't usually allot time during the day for Wix. Occasionally we will for like reading of Wixes and reviewing of Wixes and giving advice and feedback on them. But that will happen more so in the very beginning. We don't usually offer time to do like your day long unless we're doing like a prompt or a reflective journal. So I'm going to define Wix accounts for our new students and why we use them. So Wix, we're going to say Wix a lot. It's literally a website, wix.com, and they're online blog entries. And so the actual website is free to create one, and you have the ability to create whatever design you really want. A lot of them are like pre-made for like food journal, travel journal, something else. Pick whatever you want, and you can really make it your own and edit it. If you look at the template and it looks like, this might not be a great format for someone to read and review my journals, maybe don't pick that one. Pick one that was going to be like easy for you to add. Like I know I picked a very complicated one and I regretted it very quickly, but it was like too late to look back. So just like be wise, you're doing daily journal entries in this. The reason that we use Wixes, actually there's a couple. The first one, although you don't realize it really till you're out of MedEx or after you finish the summer, you don't remember everything you do. You feel like, wow, this is life-changing and amazing and wonderful, and then like someone asks you about MedEx Academy and you're like, oh, what did I do every day? And so this is a great opportunity when you're getting ready for an interview and you're trying to look back at like the important experiences that you had, or some things that were kind of subtle in the moment, but looking back, they mean a lot to you. And so the more detail you can put in really just helps you in the long run. Additionally, we share these links and URLs with people, specifically like healthcare providers that support and volunteer with MedEx, because they're so interested and invested in what you're doing. So these need to be professional, easy to read, do a good job of highlighting who you are as a person, because you never know who's going to be actually reading this daily entry. So a big thing that we recommend is while we say like include detail and make sure you can remember like the little things, what we don't want to see is that you just say like, today we started at 8 a.m. At noon we went to lunch, and then after lunch we did this, and then we did that. I can't think of any examples right now, I'm so sorry, I'm creating a calendar, but this and that is all I can think of. So while that maybe in the future, like yes, I remember doing that activity, you're not going to necessarily remember like how you felt, or what the impact was on you in that moment, or the impact that it had on you at that time versus in the future might change. So we really want to focus on like the why, the why and the how. Combined, they make wow. And so talking about what it means, and like we joke about the presidential fitness test, and like everyone kind of like whines a little bit about it, but we do things so intentionally and to truly understand what it means to be a patient, which we all are. But when we talk about compliance and what that means and why people are not compliant with their medication or the regimes that are recommended to them by healthcare providers, maybe it's because it's complicated or it's not fun, and we do the same thing. So just definitely think about like reflecting on you as a patient, you as a healthcare provider, who you are as a researcher, a volunteer. We're going to go through all of these experiences within the summer. But being specific helps you in the long run, but also helps people who are donating to MedEx to keep us moving along, and those who are investing their time to stay invested in us as students. So just some details about how to create a Wix account. You go to wix.com. You can create literally any blog style website. I guess I just strongly recommend you're doing this on a daily basis. And so the best way that you can keep it organized, where someone can like log in and be like, I want to know what they did on May 24th. Like, and they can find what you did that day. If you can give it like a little title, that'll help you, because there's times when I try to look back and like, I remember doing this activity and I want to know more details. Like, I don't know what date I did that activity on. So if you want to give like the title of the day, you can do whatever makes most sense to you. We just heavily recommend that you organize it ahead of time, because otherwise we're going to make you do it during the tier one of the evenings when you could be doing something more fun like hump day hangouts. Oh, and then she already touched on this with the housing. I just want to like highlight, you guys all submitted your acceptance Google forms, which is awesome. On that you did housing, t-shirts, and like specific accommodations that you require. And so we have those answers, and that's great. We just wanted to highlight again, specifically with the housing. If you said yes, but you found that you have housing this summer and you no longer need it, please let us know so that we don't rent out an apartment and then end up not using it, and vice versa. If you determine that you do need it, we need to know that as well. We're planning to reserve those this week, so we need to know that sooner rather than later. Otherwise, we'll default to whatever answer you gave on the acceptance Google form.
All right, guys, so finally, to review, what should you bring to MedEx every day? The first thing is absolutely your badge. That clearance deadline of May 13th is super important, because we want you to have your badges that first week. To have access to your food, to parking, all those great things, you have to have your badge. One side note, do not pick up your badge from the badge office, even if you get an email saying it's ready. We will do that for you, so just don't do it. If you do it, it's super complicated for us, and like, it's a mess. So just don't go there. We'll get it for you. We'll bring your badge to you. Don't worry about it, but make sure you bring it every single day. The rest of these things we've mentioned: laptop, paper, pencil, water bottle, snack, just in case it's a long day. And then lastly, make sure that you are coming to MedEx with an open mind and open heart, and ready to learn and ready to grow. Final checklist. Make sure that you have this slide printed out or printed in your memory somewhere, so that you know exactly what you have to do by what date. All of these things have to be done at the top of the page by May 13th. I know the introduction slide says it's a little different, but all of these things, May 13th. And then city training must be done by May 25th. Wix account created has to be done by the first day of the tier. I love that you're all taking pictures of this. Please, please, please keep these dates highlighted for yourself. Make sure that you have all these things in, especially your clearance is incredibly important. I cannot stress that enough. As Natalie mentioned, sometimes those certain vaccinations can take up to 40 days to complete. So it's about 43 days out from the deadline right now. So if you already know you need a varicella vaccine, or you need an MMR vaccine, or you need your TB test, go do that like tomorrow morning. Do not put that off. A common question we get is like, how do I go get my TB test? What do I do? All that stuff. Go to your urgent care, your minute clinic, at your CVS. They'll be able to do all of that for you. Unfortunately, you can't come to employee services here at the hospital to get that done anymore, so you have to go to CVS or Walgreens or one of those little clinics. But make sure that that's a priority and you have all of that done by May 13th. Lastly, any questions about anything that we've covered? I know it's a lot of information to take in, and if you have questions that come up as you're kind of processing this information, you can always email us, or you can call us, or you can text us, and you have our phone numbers. We're able to answer any questions that you have. We'll also be available after this if you want to come up and speak to us one-on-one. Your interns will be here too, so you can kind of ask questions of us one-on-one. Any questions at all? Questions?
Should you pick up your MedEx badge?
No.
Awesome. What date is clearance due? One note with the clearance things, I know Natalie and Emily touched on like codes to use to have like a free background check, or like log in to help stream for free. Those codes should be in the email that was sent to you. If you haven't gotten that email or have trouble finding that code, feel free to reach out. All I can say is that there is a code there for you to have this stuff done for free. If you choose to log into the background check and not use that code and you pay the $35, we can't reimburse you for that. So use the code or call us and ask us for questions rather than pay and expect to be reimbursed for that. And I know TB is going to cost money when you go to the urgent care, and I think that is the one only thing that we can reimburse with receipts. Correct? Okay. So TB test will cost money. I think it varies by the place that you go. I think it can cost $60 is like the highest amount, maybe like $33 if you do like a one-step. But if you have the receipt, we can reimburse you for that. But the stuff that we have codes, we can't reimburse you for. So just please follow directions that way.
And if you go to Publix and get your TB test, you get a $10 gift card afterwards. Just saying, we can get a couple cents.
So any last questions? Anything? All right, so as we wrap up this evening, thank you guys so much for being here. We have a very, very important conclusion to the evening, and that is introduction to our director, Al Spire, who needs an introduction. Here is Uncle Al, and he is going to talk to you about MedEx and the MedEx family.
If you would, give another round of applause to the folks who've been here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I do want to take some time to talk. MedEx staff has taken the automobile known as MedEx Academy, and they are the drivers of this program. This night is a special night. For the first time in the 9-year history of the MedEx program, I did not choose to be part of the interview process for the undergraduates. All the time from Tier 1 in 2010 to this moment, I have participated in every interview, has made every selection. But if you believe in your program, you believe in the produce that it creates, if you believe in the product that it will yield, then you recognize that people should be able to replace you. And these are my replacements. But they're not replacement as a substitute, they are replacement as someone of character who understands the power of the program from their own experience. They are someone who are still growing in their own journey. You need to understand that over 600 people started this journey, and we showed you those who completed the application. We didn't even talk about the ones who didn't. What you need to understand is so many people had interviews, and every one of you that's in this room right now is here because one of them or more of them said you should be here. It wasn't me this time. In fact, they had to argue and prove to me that you should be here. There were tears shed. There were frustrations. There were a lot of nights. In fact, I was asked to leave the room on a few occasions. But what you need to understand is, if you're sitting in this chair, it's because somebody or more than somebody said you should be here. It wasn't always a perfect picture. Some of you clearly performed at a star level. And we like, you know what? MedEx cannot do without them. They, in the program, makes MedEx a better program for the other students. Some of you in this room, it's like, you know they're almost there, but if they were polished just a little bit, they'd be with the rest of them. And some of you, fortunately for you, we said, we cannot be this program without you because you need us very badly. I don't know which one you think you are, but I can tell you all of you have room for improvement. The next stage that you go to, what got you into MedEx will not be good enough to get you in the next stage. And the purpose of MedEx is to challenge you. There are 3 things I ask you to do. First, curiosity. I want you to think you know what you want, but I want you to be willing to validate it. Because a whole lot of things we're going to put before you will challenge that belief. One of the things you'll discover most from MedEx is the discovery of yourself. Because we will either affirm the thing you say you are, or you will learn to change who you are to become a better version of yourself. The second thing we want you to do is have courage. Because not everything I'm going to ask you to do feels comfortable. In fact, it's not meant to. In fact, it's meant to be challenging. Some of it will be emotional. Some of it would be physical, and all of it would be growing. You need to have courage. But also, I need you to understand that the power that we have together is through the connections that we make. MedEx is a social multiplier, which means that each of you have something of value to offer the other persons in this group. In fact, everyone in here has a gift, and you'll be shameful not to share your gift with the other people in this room. And you'll be denied by not getting the gift from the other persons in this room. So you need to get yours, and you need to give yours as part of this program. MedEx is your GPS. It's not my place to determine your path. It's not my place to determine your end goal, but it is my place to help you along your journey. Now, some of you think you already know where you're going. That's great. I'll call you running the highways. But I'm going to ask you as you run the highway that you pull over to a rest stop and let's check to make sure we're on the right path. Some of you might think you know what you want to do, but you also have some other things you might want to taste. You might want to have a chance to try. Maybe that's the scenic route that you're on. And GPS for MedEx for you is, let's try some things and validate what we're experiencing. Let's grow, let's experience some other things, and let's learn all the things that we may want to choose to do or not do. And then some of you have no clue where you're at. And even at this stage, you picked a major that you have no idea what to do with. You picked a path that you're not even sure you want to be on. You're following people because you think it's the right thing to do because it's the right thing for them, and you're lost. And you don't have a road. In fact, you're off-road. In fact, you might be in the best position because when you don't know anything, you're open to learning everything. And that's our goal, is for you to grow, for you to learn. It's the power of the program that the people bring to it that has made the program that much more. Now, we say it's not just a program, it's a relationship because we mean that. Years ago, I was riding in a car with a colleague of mine, and on the radio, there was an interview taking place, and the person being interviewed was asked this question: would you go to the grave for this? And this person said, I would go to my grave for this thing. And I'm like, whoa, that is a serious endorsement. In fact, my friend and I, we were in the car going, well, would you go to the grave for a sandwich? No, I'm going to do that for a sandwich. Would you go to the grave for a... No, I'm going to do that either. And for years, I have struggled with the idea of what would you go to the grave for? What would you be willing to say, I draw such a strong line in the sand that I'd be willing to die for? You know, that's called purpose. And some of us, our purpose is not known yet. And the purpose is different from a job, it's different from a career. It's more like the calling. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to discover your calling, but my goal here is not to hold you back from those forms of experiences, because many people will have those experiences while they're here. What I will say is, I am going to challenge you. Tier 2, your main purpose is to discover your career path. And you may not know all the answers when you leave Tier 2, but you'll definitely know what you don't like. And our goal with you is to blueprint what you need to know from now to the end of your journey in undergraduate. Because the last thing you need to find out is you're a senior and you forgot to learn some things along the way. You forgot to do some things along the way. You forgot to become some things along the way. We want to blueprint for you those mile markers you need to be at. And in the sense of doing that, we also want you to learn how to be a researcher, how to care for others, mentor like other students, and how to be a part of other teams. Tier 3, the preparatorial tier. Yes, you'll have to do some career prep for exams, but more importantly, we need to find out if the values you say you have line up with the career you're choosing. And I will challenge you on that, because we're going to figure out what you think is important. And some of you might find that you're in conflict. Some of you might find that the thing you say you want and the thing you're doing don't match up. And when you're in conflict, you have to make serious, hard decisions. And we'll force those issues so that you make them. But you'll be better for making them now than paying a price and paying a cost later that you didn't really want to do. Tier 4. You are the tier that is the highest level of all the challenges. And my job is to make your Tier 4 experience, interview-wise, the worst interview you've ever had. Your worst interview will be with MedEx Academy. It will be. My job is to find your weakness. My job to exploit your weakness. My job is to tear you apart and put you back together. Why? Because if you can go through what we put you through, you won't fear whatever else is out there. All of you will be better for being in the program than if you have never been here at all. All of you should have an advantage over your peers than they for not being here. All of you should find that you will be bonded by each other through your experiences and through your shared values and through your commitment to each other, because this is not about competition. This is about everyone in this room wins and everyone in this room that elevates, because everyone in this room is here to support everyone else. Years ago, when I was riding the van, there were 12 students who began the MedEx Academy, Tier 1. And at that time, we really were just trying to see something. There was no med school, there was no building. This came as a result of MedEx Academy being a success. And the institution decided to go after a medical school. And even in the medical school application, it says the strength of the MedEx program is the flagship of the programs for approval for accreditation for this medical school. And it continues to be so. In fact, most of the students who apply through the MedEx Academy are accepted through the programs, not only in this institution, but medical schools throughout the region. The nursing school that grew up in the ground next to this building is a part of the reason for the MedEx Academy being extended in this success, because we were able to show that our pipeline for nursing makes sense and the needs of the states were great. But you would be wrong if you thought that we were just about nursing and doctors. Because if you look at our legacy of success, you find that our students go into every form of career imaginable. We even have a comedian. She was accepted into med school. She goes, you know, I know I can do med school. What I don't know is can I do comedy? Her name is Spencer Taylor. She's a graduate of Clemson University. She graduated summa cum laude. She was accepted in the first class of med school in this building. And she says, I'm going to take some gap years to see if I can be a comedian. Don't believe it? Google her. Spencer Taylor, comedian for a cause, Charlotte, North Carolina. She will tell you that if she doesn't get an HBO special this year, she'll be in med school. Plenty of people, lots of people. You will hear the word free. Free, 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 free. What I'm really saying is the program that you're a part of doesn't cost you anything, but it does cost you something. Because everything we're doing for you is an investment. It's an investment. And what that means is there should be a return on investment. The return on investment I'm asking for is that you become the best you. That's it. There are no other conditions. That you become your best you. That's why it's about the relationship. Now, a program has a start date and an end date. Relationships don't have to. There are students I've known since 2010, and I continue to support them. In fact, I've got MedExers living in my old house. It works that way. There are students who I'm looking forward to being at the christening of their babies. There are students who are getting married. I've been to their weddings, and I'll be going to more weddings. There are students who are lost, and they've needed someone to find them in the darkness. And I've shown them with a light. There are many students, and I'm not the only one. I'm one of many, and you should be a part of it. This is more than just a program. You're saying yes to a lot of things, but you need to say yes first to yourself and to each other. The other thing is, as a family, our goal is to support MedEx for all members in living your dreams. That's what it means. That's what my family's about. You can family mentor all kinds of ways, all kinds of time. And not everybody's willing to leave their bed, to leave their comfort, to come join you. And I'm saying we are. We've proven it many a time, we'll prove it to you too. I also would say that we have some promises to keep. Now, these promises didn't exist when we started, but it became vital to who we are today. And our first promise is really to our parents. How many parents are here tonight? This is about us. I'm a parent. And I got to tell you, some people, well, I don't know if you're really a parent. Yeah, I'm a parent. Let me tell you how that worked. I met my son when he was 12 years old. I was dating his mom. She's a single mom. And I knew the status of our relationship by the way they introduced me. He would say, this is my mom, and this is her friend, Al. I said, oh, okay, all right. But, you know, I understood what that was, and I understood that, you know, you have to earn some things, just like I have to earn some things from you. I expect that. But I recognize that if you put the time in, you put the investment, you put your heart in, there's trust, there's respect, there's appreciation. And then that introduction changed from, this is my mom, and this is our friend now. And then it began to take shape, because when I proposed to my wife, I proposed to my son. And we stood at the preacher together, all three of us. And I said, if we're getting married, we're getting married. That's one. And he said, this is my mom, and this is my stepdad, Al. And then after a few years, when he had some challenges and he'd been through some things, and he knows I didn't leave when it was hard, and I wasn't just there when it was easy, he said, this is my mom and this is my dad. Well, let me tell you something. I said he was my son from the beginning. It just took him time to figure that out. Now, the people in this room, you're my nieces and you're my nephews. You're my family. In fact, I carry you on my phone. I do. I mean, I'll show you anytime. I got thousands of pictures of MedExers on my phone. Why? Because I go to bed looking at you and I wake up looking at you. And when I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, I look at you in my phone and I see what I'm here for. And I know what I'm here for because I'm here for you. But I'm also here for your parents. And that's the first promise. See, our parents are our first teachers, our first providers, and they are hoping so much for your success. So our first promise has to be to the parents. And to the parents, I say, we are your partner. And as your partner, I promise to help your child become financially independent and get out your house. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. It was never the plan for you to go off to school and come back and live with us. No! You could have did that and never spent the money. Here's the whole point of that. We want you to be out there on your own. We want you to be independent, but get a little distance. So our first commitment to the parents, let's get these kids on the path, but they're independent out of your pocket. That's what we want to do. And then we're part of the school system. We have tons of educators who are part of this program, partners with this program. And our commitment to our educator is that we are your partner. And as your partner educators, we promise to help the retention and graduation success rate of your students. We have a commitment to our own people as employees. A whole lot of people are graduating not ready to work. We want to change that. So to our own employees, we say we are your partner. We want to make sure that the next generation is ready and competent and able to work. Our next promise is to our community. We are the community. And in order for our communities to be better, we have to be better. So our commitment to our community is that we promise to advance the value and opportunities as servants of our community. But even though we say all those things, the biggest promise we have to give is the one we make to you, the people in this room. As your partner, we help you understand this. We promise to help you find a job that you love and a career that you'll never hate, so that you never work a day in your life. That's what we hope to do if we do this right. Now, we have a job to do, but in order to do it, you have to get ready. The things you heard tonight is nothing but preparation. Now, you can't help it. You've been looking around the room going, who's this, who's this, who's this? Talking in your head. Let me tell you something. Don't waste your time. Don't compare. Don't despair. Get prepared. And that's what this is about. Preparation. We're all on the journey. Although we have our own race to run, the power of the group will aid all of us in our individual achievements. And you are now part of a family. that is way stronger than a group. I can't wait for you to get back here, because the days are too long for me to have to count till I see you again. I am watching for you. This may not make sense because this guy just met me. But you know, if your heart is right and you've learned some things in life, you learn that your love should be unconditional. Your support should be that way as well. So you've already got my love, you already got my support. Now we need to firm up the rest of it. You need to know me as much as I need to know you. And the reason why? Because we're family. Thank you for your time.
So we will be down here in the front to answer any questions you have. If you did not sign in, please sign in. As we mentioned, this has been recorded, so if you need that link, we'll be emailing that out to you. Again, just come ask us any questions. We're so excited to have you for the summer. We want to make sure you're prepared, so let us know how we can help you do that. Have a good night.
All right.
Let's go.